Aaron Blank, everybody. No, sir, I had to save the best for last. Sorry, guys. but of course, I'm going to start this off. As far as San Antonio, I mean, is this your first time being here in the city?
No, actually, I've been here before. I came here way back in the 90s with the art car circuit. We would go to Houston, Texas for the annual art car parade. Every year since 1989 to about 2006, I did that parade. And you know, they had an art car in Killer Klowns, and I was blown away when I saw that car on the set. I'm like, what the hell? They've got an art car in this movie? I thought I was like one of the only ones in the world that had an art car. And I showed up at the audition, by the way, to be in a crowd scene as an extra. I was just going to be in the crowd, and I showed up in my art car, and that got a lot of attention. And then I'm not sure I did it.
Tell people what an art car is in case they don't know what it is.
An art car is just a decorated car, like crazy. There was a very famous art car in San Antonio by a guy named Joe Gomez Ironworks. It was like a filigree wrought iron VW that you could see through. And he was also a cockfighter. And so he raised fighting cocks in his backyard. And he had like 30 roosters. And I ended up traveling with 3 roosters from San Antonio to Douglas, Arizona. And they got out of the cage while I was driving down the highway. And they started fighting, and there's like feathers and roosters all over the place inside the car.
Now, is that in your IMDb?
No. That I could tell you stories all day, but back to I was going to do the extra scene, and I was a college basketball player, and one of the Kyotos said, "Man, you look like you're in good shape." And I said, "Yeah, I played college basketball." And he's like, "Well, you think you could wear a clown outfit?" I said, "Hell yeah, I'll give it a shot." So we did a scene. I'll never forget this. We did a scene, and it was a group scene of Killer Klowns. And then afterwards, one of the Kyotos said, "Hey, who is that clown?" And they look at their clipboard and they go, "Harrod Blank. Tell him to stay after the shoot." So I stayed after the shoot. I was like, what do you guys want? He goes, "Well, put on this outfit and can you pretend that you're drunk and go across the room?" I said, "Sure, no problem." So I staggered in the clown outfit across the room, and I said, "Okay, go over there and choke that guy." So I go over and I choke the guy, and I actually choked him pretty good and then put him on the ground. And I'm like, "Can you work for the next 2 weeks?" And I was hired as a clown, and I got paid $75 a day. And I was actually staying in a hotel in Santa Cruz called Hotel St. George, and I was writing a script. I was just graduated from college, so I was writing a feature script and ended up getting this extra gig, and then ended up getting to be a clown. And 35 years later, all y'all are paying me money for my autograph. What the hell? So what I say to young people, what Grant was saying is just don't have any expectations and just go with it and just do your best, and hopefully things will work out. But when you have expectations, a lot of times you'll get let down and then you'll get discouraged. But try to have an open mind and do things, work, put yourself in action. Yeah.
See, I'm a big believer of opportunity. It took years for me to realize that and understand that, what a big opportunity. Just have to appreciate it. But of course, I mean, when it comes to the theater, to acting, what's the biggest memory of your best experience?
The entire process was just really surreal, to be honest with you. It's sort of, I would see something every day that would take me by surprise, and it was really fun to work on. I didn't feel like it was a job or a grind or anything. It was actually exciting and different. It was claustrophobic to be glued in costume, and it was for a long time. It wasn't just 10 minutes or a half hour. It was hours, and it was, you had to have a razor blade cut the back of the outfit off every time you got out of costume. So it was, you know, I'm actually, if we get to do a sequel and I get put in it, I got to come up with a better way of getting out of that thing because it's
They've come a long way since.
yeah.
Now they got zippers.
Yeah, it was different. That, yeah.
But of course, and that's one of the things I do want to ask, would everybody be interested in watching the sequel? There was a scene actually in Rauls Sports that the Muppets in that movie were but it wasn't. Do you know anything about that?
I don't know anything about that.
Well, this definitely the Kyotos did some work on that movie.
Oh yeah.
And they may have, you know, sometimes when you work in that kind of visual effects, like they do that practical visual effects, you know, you'll take a body that you know, you start creating something and then you have kind of the beginning of it, but then you can repurpose that for other things. So I don't remember the story exact, so I don't want to, you know, I mean, quote me on it, but they may have used some of the things that in the early stages that they were using for Killer Klowns and repurposed it for Ernest. They definitely worked on it.
Of course, going back to the costume, I gotta ask you, of course, they made you walk like, you know, like a drum stacker, I guess, so they can, wearing that costume, did you guys used to have to go out and do lunch, like in public, and you have to go, did they bring you guys with them?
Oh, we couldn't eat in costume.
They gave him a straw.
Yeah, we did have a straw, and sucking the blood was a scene that I actually played that scene,
That was his lunch.
and it was corn syrup, so it was sweet. But that was the ultimate insanity of making the movie was for me was the scene that blood coming out of the cocoon, and then I just looked at myself from above and was like, what the hell are you doing? But yeah, it was a physical thing, I'd say, playing the clowns. I mean, Mike is very physical too. He was an athlete. He actually tried out for the San Francisco 49ers as a field goal kicker. Yeah. Raiders. Sorry, Raiders. Raider Nation. Yeah.
Now, I mean, being an athlete, of course, you said you came in, you're pretty athletic. How hard was it to wear that costume?
The costume was pretty heavy, and you would sweat a lot, so you'd want to drink a lot of water before. And but I find it's a challenge. I like to see what I can do with my body and how far I can push it. And Mike and I actually played basketball in costume on the Kentucky Wildcats basketball court, and that was really fun. We could actually do it. We did it.
Did they get that on top?
There's a little video on YouTube. You can check it out. Yeah. We broke into at the Kentucky Wildcats gym. So what I like to do is if we had the costumes on this trip, we could have done something. But I like to push the envelope and do something crazy. And then like I liked your videos. I thought, you know, if I had known you were going to shoot videos, I would have said, hey, why don't Mike and I come to San Antonio 3 weeks early and we'll do some shoots with you and do some wild shoots and then you know promote the show. But that's what I like to do. I want to keep doing stuff. I want to do something with the four of us that we can do more things together. But which is surprising because we really haven't been asked to do anything together or. You know, I mean, Killer Klowns sequel has been floating around ever since we've been doing this, to be honest. I mean, in fact, Grant wrote a script. Grant wrote the, and then that was going to go along, and then, you know, it didn't happen yet. But, yeah.
That's definitely one thing I know, not just here, but I mean, I keep hearing is sequel.
Yeah. Yeah. It would be fun to do an MMA scene with the Killer Klowns. Okay, you want to take on a couple clowns?
I got backup right here.
You want to take on?
Let's go there. So man, Art Blank, of course, everybody, we're going to go ahead and open. You want to jump up?
So my first question for y'all, who played Shorty?
It was a guy named Gino Ponzo played Shorty.
He's not here.
He's a little guy.
Well, that's all the questions I have to ask.
You're dismissed. Thank you.
Here's the next one up.
If you guys watched the Killer Clown movie, how did you feel whenever you first watched it?
Yeah, that's a good question. It's making us ponder.
I saw it when first time I saw it was in the theater when it first came out in Santa Cruz, and I saw it with my kids, and they really enjoyed it, and I thought it was really campy and everything, you know. But a lot of the stuff I knew because I had worked on it, but that was the first time I saw it completed, you know, and I thought it was good, you know. But I was going by my kids, you know, they really enjoyed it and were asking me questions afterwards and things like that. But yeah.
So I have a question for you. How did you feel when you saw Killer Clown? You grab the mic, grab the mic, grab the mic.
I just felt really. It was one of those movies that felt good and scary at the same time.
So it was fun and scary at the same time.
Yes.
I think that's how I felt too. I think we felt the same way.
I have another question. What was your favorite scene in the Killer Clown movie?
You know, I've always really liked the scene where the guard gets melted by all the ice cream pies. I've always really liked that. My favorite line in the movie is that guy's line where he says, "What are you gonna do with those pies, boys?"
My favorite was where everybody's waiting for the bus and Clown is doing shadows of it.
Oh, yeah.
That's my favorite.
That's a good one.
Okay. How did you do the scene with the? How did you control the visual effects when Slim was doing the shadow puppets?
Well, to be honest with you, none of us here did those visual effects because we were actually performers, and then, like the Kyoto brothers who created the film, they're actually amazing visual effects guys. They do that kind of stuff, and so I wish I could tell you. Does anybody know exactly how they did that gag on the wall?
No, but they just did it again, even more impressive.
So when we shot the scene, was it you? Were you doing it?
I was doing the
So, yeah, so I was in the car with Dave, right? Is that right? And you were just standing there doing this, but you couldn't see anything on the wall. No. All that was added later in post.
I have another question. So, when is the Killer Clowns game gonna come out?
Yeah, Grant, tell us.
You know, the trailer, we just watched the trailer, and I think it's fun. Did it say coming? Want me to look and see? I'll look and see, and we'll find out in a few minutes. I think it probably says it in the trailer. We just watched the trailer at lunch. Have you seen the trailer yet?
Yeah. I have one more question. How many performers were? Hold on. How many killer clowns were in the movie?
There were about 5 regular ones, and then except
Yeah, with the ending scene, they had a lot of, they had like 20 people there. For the most part, there was only like 5 or 6.
Okay,
You did?
Oh, wow.
Wow.
So my question is, we've been hearing and seeing these rumors about a sequel or the Killer Klowns from Outer Space 3 in 2023. We were wondering, when is that going to come out, and if y'all can release a good trailer of it or perform a scene from it by any chance.
The sequel or from the game?
According to Google, like we've been seeing these little advertisements and rumors of the Killer Clown from Outer Space 3 coming out in 2023.
Made 2 yet. We're still on 1. So, listen, we've all got our fingers crossed. I guess you know the expression, we don't want to get over our skis. You know, we don't want to get ahead of ourselves because we thought there was going to be a sequel many times over the years and come very close and not have it happen. But we're hoping that the video game that's coming out is going to finally be the thing that kind of generates that extra bit of interest that kind of puts us over kind of gets us over the hump and gets it made. So, knock on wood, all your guys' kind of love of the movie and everything is what's been driving it, and we're hoping it happens soon. I wish we had something more definitive to tell you, but we just don't. But we're all really hoping it happens soon. Optimistic.
There are scripts.
Yes.
There are scripts.
I wrote one that I developed with the Kyoto brothers, but I think that they've worked on other versions as well. So we're just hoping something gets made, and we're hoping that the video game is. We're all hoping the video game is that thing that kind of pushes because everybody's always, you have to understand, studio executives have never really gotten Killer Klowns. They're shocked that it's done the business that it's done, right? They think it's so offbeat and quirky that they don't think that it, they don't look at it like they would have something like Friday the 13th that's more direct horror. So, every time they put something out, whether it's a piece of merchandising or the little pop-up toys or the costumes, they all sell out immediately. So they're like, whoa. But they still can't get it through their heads, right? Because they think in a very structured way. You know what I mean? They don't think in a Killer Klowns way. But the whole idea now is that the video game comes out, which is mainstream and sells like a mainstream video game, then that's going to be the thing that finally makes them go, you know what I mean? Because that's what they need is a little bit of a knock on the old cellar door.
And one last question. So I was wondering, what do you have for these young actors that, what if they want to perform for a Killer Clown if there's going to be a sequel or a second or third?
You mean, are there going to be auditions?
Yeah, auditions, yes sir.
I'm sure there will be, but until we know that there's actually going to be a movie and the production gets set up, I wouldn't know where to say to go to do it. But I'm sure you will hear some sort of an announcement long before the movie is being made. They'll probably put something out that says, it's what happens is when the movie starts to come together, there'll be like press announcements that come out, Killer Klowns from Outer Space, the sequel finally being made. And then you can kind of look further along and see who's the studio, try to get in contact to try to audition for something.
My question is, how long do you take and what was it like to wear the special effects makeup and the costumes?
Sometimes with the process, when I did the floating clown, things that knocked the car off the road.
No, the makeup and stuff on the face and stuff?
They had the costume around the contraption I was on, so that took them 2 hours to put in there. The mask the makeup was pretty simple because it was just a mask. The masks then are different than how they are now, because they were big latex rubber. So we had to press our face into it and move it around to the point
That's all the questions I have.
Hello? Okay, yeah. First of all, I would like to say this. I'm happy to be in your presence. You've made my childhood awesome. And my one question is, will the Twinsy brothers make a comeback?
Well, we're hoping that a Terenzi brother will make a comeback. Unfortunately, we lost one of the Terenzi brothers last year. Thank you.
So sorry. My question was, do any of you own any of the props or replicas that you have in the movie? And if so, or if you don't own one, which one would you want?
I don't think we do. We don't.
Sean does. Sean has.
Yeah, the Kyotos do, because they created it, right, so they have things. And then, the funny thing is our agent, who's Joel's, Sean, who's, represents us all at a lot of other, do these conventions, he's a big fan of Killer Klowns and other things, so he doesn't only have Killer Klowns, but I know he has several, gloves and the props and the heads, and he's got them all in like cases in his house or something. So I've never been there to see him, but I know that he's got some really cool ones.
I have my hearing.
Oh, you do? That's awesome. I wish we did, but unfortunately we didn't think about it at the time.
Clown. Prop.
What's
No. For the clowns, which prop can cut and how those see and stuff like that? Which prop was the coolest to use and see on set?
Which props did you use in the movie that were the coolest?
Maybe your Rambo
Popcorn gun.
Hey, you want to hear Herod's Rambo story with his favorite prop?
Yeah.
Herod, tell your Rambo story.
Hello, so one question. Okay, at the very end, the cop, he caught the pies and melted. Y'all caught the pies and nothing happened. And Miss Snyder, I almost had you mixed up with Susan Marie Snyder. And I probably not the first time you heard that. And I was like, oh, should I bring a Rolling Hills Camp t-shirt? I bought a Blu-ray on Amazon. And I said, wait, this should have been birthdays. I'm like, they're not the same person. But you sound, your voice and your youth, you still have it like you've seen in the movie. Mr. Grant, very colorful, character in the movie, awesome, full of energy. And that little thing between you and Dave, kind of like a competition. She's on the ground, both are picking her up, like, y'all kissing her in front of the police station. He's giving that look like, oh. Everybody
was always fighting
Everybody was real cool. I was born in '87, so I'm kind of late to the show, but still age me. It's all good. I really liked it. Just a big fan overall. Thank you.
Thank you.
You guys seen all those cocoons all over the place, the big decorations? This guy that did them all by hand.
Oh,
It
good
took,
for you.
it took us like 2 weeks to make them all. And then cut the
All right, everybody, that is it for the Q&A, of course. I want to thank everybody on stage, of course, once again. They're going to be downstairs today and tomorrow, so definitely give them a round of applause. Thank you.
Boss is here for I got it. I go wherever the boss takes me. I gotta get his
Hi again. Very good show. Just want to say I appreciate y'all. I have I love that show. Like that's my show, not show. I say show, but I mean movie. My dad showed it to me, so I just appreciate that place in my childhood. And it's just so cool.
Thank you.
Yeah, of course.